Ever since I first started playing DBD, I always wanted a crawling killer. Not a killer that could crawl through tunnels, but a killer that can crawl on the wall as a power. Now, as cool as it will be to have a killer like that in the game, I still have my high doubts of that even happening. I could just see it being pretty complicated. I'm not saying Behavior won't pull it off, or they probably have something in mind, but I know it just wouldn't be easy to implement into the game. But for the fun of it, I think I have an idea on how a crawling killer can work in DBD. So I can see the killer, of course, being the 4.4 MS killer. I say this because I want the killer to use the crawl as its advantage. So basically how this will work is that you see how Singularity is able to shoot biopods on the wall? The crawling killer can aim and has a similar reticle like Singularity to pounce on the wall. Once the killer is on the wall, the killer's POV transfers into third person POV, like Chucky. While you're on the wall, you have a short duration period until you could pounce on another surface. But as you're on the wall, you could crawl around. It'll be really fluent like the Alien vs Predator game, where when you play as the Xenomorph, you could just smoothly transition into another surface that's right next to you. So we'll have that similar element when crawling, but it will just be in third person POV. Also, when you consume a pounce, so when you pounce on the wall, it takes up a token. The crawling killer will have 4 tokens, so that means 4 pounces. The pounces have to connect to the wall to continue. Well, once that duration ends while you're crawling on the wall, the killer will fall down. While the killer is on the wall, the killer is significantly faster, and while on the wall, the killer can pounce onto a survivor, injuring them in the process. The Pounce Attack will be similar to Demogorgon Shred. The Pounce Attack will have a similar charge to Shred, and the Pounce Attack's hitbox will be similar to Shred, and also the Pounce Attack sound cue will be similar to Shred, how the Demogorgon makes a slight sound before he's able to pounce on you. When the killer is on the wall, the killer has an aiming reticle similar to Pinhead's Gateway. I say Pinhead's Gateway because it passes through collision, making sure the portal doesn't end up spawning on top of a surface. But in this crawling killer's case, that will be there for the killer doesn't have to get stuck on top of a surface. However, if something like that does happen, similar to Victor and how Victor can get stuck on top of a surface before he ends up dying, the crawler would just slide off. After the crawler manages to connect the Pounce Attack or misses a Pounce Attack, the crawler suffers a cooldown. While on the surface, the crawler can also crawl through windows. However, crawling through a window is similar like crawling through a window with Bamboozle, because the crawler can crawl slightly faster through it, before continuing to crawl on the opposite surface. So basically in the chase, the crawling killer works like this. The crawling killer can aim a reticle at the wall. Once the crawler killer activates the power button, the crawler killer will then pounce onto the wall. Whilst on the wall, the crawler killer can either continue crawling on the surface or pounce onto another surface, a max of 4 times. The crawler killer can also use the Pounce Attack, which injures survivors on a successful attack. If the crawler misses or manages to attack the survivor, the crawler will have a cooldown before the crawler can use his power again. So basically what the crawler is doing in chase is constantly readjusting itself to get the Pounce Attack on the survivor. The crawler must pounce on the surface in order to navigate faster on that surface, pass through windows connected on that surface, adjusting itself to get the Pounce Attack on survivors. But like I mentioned, the crawler can only crawl from the side, not on the ceiling. Mainly the areas where Singularity can shoot its biopods, that's where the crawler could crawl. But not all surfaces like cars, trash cans, and small minor surfaces like that. With the addition of Chucky in the game and him having a unique third person point of view, I would just love to see killers with that same angle, and I think a crawling killer would be perfect for it. From a survivor's POV, seeing the killer where you constantly have to look up and you just see them pouncing from surface to surface and they could potentially pounce on you, I think that can make for a pretty terrifying killer, honestly. But I'm just not sure if that's what Behavior has in mind. Sorry for not having animating skills, but I try to explain this as best as I can. I think a crawling killer can have potential in DBD, but I just still have my doubts. But who knows, there's maybe surprises in the future, so we may actually see a crawling killer of this magnitude. What do you guys think of this idea for a crawling killer? How would you see a crawling killer fit in DBD? Let me know down below. Love y'all. Take care. I'm gonna see you on the next one. And peace.